Alright, good morning guys, or good afternoon, Yamero. I'm going to help you with some of these problems that I got questions on from Flash Dojo. Number one, this is from day 6 from your packet, if you're doing the packet. It says triangle ABC is similar to XYZ. Um, what is the value of n in centimeters? The One of the issues that some of the students might have is because of the triangles, they're not they're not facing the same way, or they're not in the same position. Like this one is here, it's kind of like not standing up like this one. So you're gonna have to think here. You're gonna visualize if you rotate it to make it look like this one. Like if I were to rotate it, I guess it would be triangle like this. Okay, and so remember, I'm rotating this guy. I'm gonna stand it up to kind of make it similar to this guy here. And so if I do that, then you gotta think, well, then this would be X, this would be Y, and this would be Z. All I did was stand this one up. And so I noticed there that now I can put the measurements that go along with these sides. XY is 7.5, XZ is 6, and ZY or YZ is what we're looking for. This is N. So now that you see them side to side, and they're both in the same, I guess, position. Okay, you want to say position. Let me just make my marker look. And so what you got to do is this: think here. Think of when you see the word similar, you got to think of the word proportion. So you got to make yourself a proportion. What is a proportion? It's just two ratios next to each other. Okay, and so you got to think here. Well, one of your fractions, because the remember the word proportion just means it's a fancy word for fraction. So that it just means fraction. Okay. And how do we solve proportions? Well, proportions we cross multiply, and then we divide. Okay, then we divide. So first, let's come up with one of the fractions, the one on this side. And usually I would start with the unknown. Well, the unknown is n, so I'm going to put n. Okay. Now you got to think there. This is zy. What corresponds to this side over here on this triangle? And if you see here, well, this is zy or yz, or however you want to say it, yz. So in similarity, the position of the letters matter. So if I see there YZ, when I look here, okay, YZ is the second and third letter. So that means they're talking about the second and third letter over here, BC. And so that means that N is in the same position as BC, which is 18. So that's my first fraction. And now I can pick any of the other two, because there's numbers over here. So let's say I'm gonna pick 6 to kind of stay away from the decimals. And so I'm gonna put 6 over here. And then 6 corresponds to who over here. Well, again, you look at your letters. This is XZ. XZ happens to be the first and third letter over here. So then over here, we're going to look at the first and third letter, AC. And that's the number that's going to go over here. And from there, all you're going to do is cross multiply and divide. So you cross multiply and divide, and you'll get your answer. Okay, I'm going to get a number, the other problem that you were asking about, which is this one. Number 2. It says two parallelograms below are similar. Again, the word similar is there. That means we need to set up. I'm not sure this is device here. We need to set up a proportion or set up proportions which means you need fractions. Okay. So that means this is the proportion equation. Okay. And so you got to think, okay, what am I comparing? Well, I have two rectangles. Rectangles have length and width. So you can either compare, okay, length to width and go that way. Well, let's look at this. Let's say this is number one, this is number two. So what is the length of BC? Well, length of BC is right here. So let's put an X because we don't know what that measures. So then we can compare length to width. Now if I compare length to width, this is the length, this is the width, this is the length, this is the width. So I can see here the number one, let's go with this one here, the smaller one. The length happens to be this, 18, because these are parallel lines. So the length is 18. Well, what's the width? The width is the same as this, because again, parallel lines is 7. So we go to the second one here. The bigger rectangle, let's look at the length. The length happens to be 27. So 27. And of course, we don't know the length of BC, which happens to be the width. So we're going to put an X there. And again, how do you solve proportions? You cross multiply and you divide. So cross multiply and divide. So cross multiply, then divide. Okay. Same thing here. Number 5 on the same day of the packet. Similar setup of proportion. Okay. Same thing. Okay. Two fractions. Cross multiply and divide again. Do the same thing you did with the other one. Compare length to width. Okay, start with one, length to the other one. There's many ways to set up the proportion. Don't think there's one way. I'm just showing you one way to set it up. Okay, but there's more ways to set it up. But just try to focus on one way for now, and then if you can learn another way, it's awesome. So remember, length to width, length to width. And you just cross multiply and divide. The last one here, number 6. Again, we have similarity. Okay, so in this one, it's similar to the other ones, but it says that a certain rectangle has a length of 22.5 inches and a width of 9 inches. Okay, so it tells you the length and it tells you the width of one triangle. Now I want to find one of these 4. It has to be similar to it. Well, that means if it's similar, then I should be able to do this. I should be able to, okay, I'm comparing length and width. So I'm going to go for length and width. I'll just put L and W. Okay, length and width. And the first one is 22.5. And the width is 9. Okay. The second one here, well, you're going to have to figure out, okay, which of these 4 of the length and width. Okay, so let's say you put this one here. Let's say you think it's 8. So I mean the length is what, 7.5. So I'm going to put 7.5 here, and then I'm going to put 3. Okay. If you cross multiply, and they equal, if you get the same thing on both sides, then that's your answer. But if they're different numbers, like for instance here, you would do 22.5 times 3. So 22.5 times 3 has to equal 7.5 times 9. If the answers are the same on both sides, that's your answer. That is the one you're going to circle. But you have to do one at a time. You don't have to do A first. You can go to B or D first. But the one that has the numbers the same, equal to each other, that is the answer to it. That means they're similar because they're equal to each other. The ratios are similar. Okay, that doesn't mean they're the same size rectangle. No, they're the same size. So the ratios are the same. Okay, I hope this has helped you. And I hope you please be safe. Yeah.